Bye.
So glad to see you go.
Bye. Excellent. Driver says she's glad to see me go. Okay. Yeah, I was going to use some other information earlier that it's local, vocal in its reality. It had everything to do with sports and grown men. Well, let me say about this thing first and foremost. I had mentioned something about the young men at the Arkansas Razorback basketball team. I was saying that they weren't athletic enough to play in the division that they are in. Well, the fact that they are on a college basketball team is enough that they are playing college basketball, so they are athletic enough, and they are bringing the school monies, and the school is earning money and has lots of monies because those young men are there, and they do hold a very important role for the school, for the state, for the rest of us, for their parents, and for the other family members. Let me say that those young men up on the hill up there are doing a great job. And when I say that they weren't good enough athletes, I meant that they weren't pushing themselves enough. They weren't physical enough. Let me say that. And one of the young men named Moody, I think his last name Moody, he had a mood swing. And one game he had 28 points. And I think they said he was averaging 18 points a game. He's a freshman, so that's a great news. That's excellent. So for all the young men, y'all have to get a bit more athletic. They don't have no slashers, no high jumpers, no physicals, guys, anything like that. You have to have a really physical enforcer somewhere on the team, some kind of way. Coach, you have to enforce that. I don't know if he has that in him to coach that toughness, but that's what they're lacking, toughness. When they get on the court, you can tell that they want to do what they are asked to do on the chalkboard and run the plays, look nice and all of that, but that's not what it's all about. You have to be tough when you're competing. So if they would push themselves a little bit more, I'm talking about the Razorbacks basketball team, the young men. And so, yeah, the fact that they're up there on the hill with so much money, covering all the expenses, they're in a good position to get an education and yet still get your game up, man. Y'all gotta get y'all game up. Damn. Really, y'all just playing too soft. So, and this happened just the other day. I was watching a basketball game with, what's this team? Ohio State and Illinois. And I saw Mike Anderson win a basketball game, St. John against UConn, just the other day. Sure did. I better hurry up because I only got 15 minutes. A young man who played for Ohio State. His name is, what's his name? Dwayne Washington Jr. And the commentators mentioned his uncle's name, which is Derek Fisher. both black and white. The white dude mentioned his uncle, who he was, but the black dude didn't say anything about who his dad was. His dad was named Dwayne Washington. His dad is an NBA player as well. Although I think he only played for a year, even if the whole year or not, maybe a couple of years. His dad played in the NBA as well, and the commentators would not even mention that, say that, and I was listening for that, because I heard Dwayne Washington Jr., and I'm thinking, I'm listening for the whole game for them to call his name out, give the stats, because they waited for a while before they even mentioned his uncle, Derek Fisher. And I'm thinking, that is his. So I'm thinking, they don't want to mention his dad's name? They call his dad's name all the time, Dwayne Washington Jr. His dad played in the NBA for the Washington Bullets and started his first year in the league as a rookie, point guard. Sure did. And I thought, how cruel and unusual, man, they just want to just do people bad. It's not enough that the young man played college ball and made the sport more interesting because, his size. He was back then from Arkansas, and at his height, 6'5" or so, playing a point guard. There was a new phase. People that size, 6'5", can handle the ball, can shoot, could do everything. His dad could do it all. And so his dad was like a new addition to that. So he started his first years in the league. The first time I saw him, he was playing the position for the Washington Bullets. And he had some problems in the league. So that reminded me of Alvin Robertson. Because I was thinking about him, how bad they did him. And because they were showing Jordan and on the Olympic team, the Dream Team and all of that. So it brought up the fact that Alvin Robertson was on the Dream Team. He was a defensive specialist, and he was just a spectacular athlete. He did something, a quadruple double in a game, something only one or two other people do, and he has stats. And the San Antonio Spurs, because he had problems of people charged him with a crime which was incorrect, something that happened in his life. But they took all this information, and when they did the San Antonio Spurs historical thing, they didn't even mention him, bring his name up or hardly anything. They just kind of eliminated his stuff out as if he didn't even play in the league. He should sue their asses for them to not even mention him, because that's an illegal procedure. You have to include everyone that was a part of your thing. So yeah, but I just thought, how indignant are these people who in the NCAA, not just the commentators, but the whole money situation, all the billions of dollars that they get, that they can't even mention a young man's name and say his father also contributed to their rigorous situation, into their upkeep, into their money position that they're in. Yes, they didn't even want to mention the man's name. I thought, how incredible is that? How rude are you all with that? That you wouldn't even mention the man's name. So, from a local aspect, the young man is doing something, and these people don't have the heart to mention the man's name. They didn't even mention his name. I was listening for his name the whole time. Maybe they did at the end of the game, because some of it I missed. I had to go back and forth doing something else. But I thought that was interesting how they'll stab you in the back, how they'll turn their back on you if you do one little thing incorrect about what they're doing in their league. But they can do so many things terribly wrong and act as if nothing is wrong with that. Everything is okay. So I just thought that was a bit too much for them to do that. And NCAA, I'm sure that they told the people don't mention his name or anything like that, because for them to not do that, to have a sports family is worth mentioning. And so I thought about his mother and how she must have felt when they did that, tried that. Oh, God damn. Yeah, I just thought how interesting that must be for them to do that and not even mention the brother and give him the props of his son now is playing at Ohio State and is in college and being a big part of them getting even more benefits and trying to, instead of adding on to the people's plight, they try to cut him off.